Hello everyone, this is Jerry Green with Real Insanity TV. Today I'm going to do a video on Lingcod. Before we get started though, we'll talk a little bit about some upcoming things happening here. Here in the Puget Sound, fishing season is kind of already kicked off. It's the 16th of April, day after tax day. We already had a 4-day winter blackmouth season with one additional day before they closed it down. So we was able to get out on 2 days and get 2 winter blackmouth. Coming up in this weekend, I am heading down to Long Beach to do some razor clamming, so we'll get some of that done. Hopefully get a video out on that. Aside from that, come May, Lingcod kicks off, followed by shrimp. So some spotted shrimp. We usually go out every year, catch spotted shrimp. Then right after that, there'll be some crab season coming in, and then coho start up. Sockeye run will come in. So starting to get busy. So today we're going to start out with talking about some Lingcod gear that I use and what you can use. That way, Lingcod opens up next month. There, you'll be able to get in on that. So Lingcod, talk a little bit about them. So Lingcod, they're actually neither a ling nor a cod. They're actually a member of the greenling family. Here in the Puget Sound, though, they're lingcod. I primarily fish lingcod from a boat, so you can fish them from shore, and we'll discuss the rig that you would use for that. But primarily for me, fishing from the boat, I favor the Okuma albacore style rods. They're a fairly heavy, fast action rod, coupled with an Okuma cold water reel. It's fairly good size. Your typical depths are going to be 200 feet or more, or right about 200 feet. That's where we're fishing at. So good trolling reel. I usually use 80-pound high-vis test line for mine. This one over here is rigged up with 80-pound green, but this is my primary Lingcod rod. That one right there. The high-vis I can pretty much allows me to see where it's in the water. So, as always, with all of my rods, I pretty much rig it up with the line. I put a corky on there to protect the rod tip from the swivel. And I end up using these corkscrew type crane swivels rather than the snap ones. Kind of see it a little bit on here, on this one here. They just kind of unscrew just like that. You take your rig on and off fairly quickly. These tend to work pretty well. For the rigs that I use, we will use live bait. So we'll jig for kelp greenlings before heading out to the fishing line, the ground where we drop down and catch lingcod. So for the rig that we use for that is going to consist of a 10-ounce banana weight with the chains. That way we reduce the spin. Treble hook. Let me get this opened up. treble hook goes into the side of the greenling. This single hook here, there we go. There we go. So you got a single hook here. Hooks through the nose, and then this will sit in the side. And then we'll usually throw a little rubber snubber right here on the nose of the single hook to keep it on. You got to remember that we have to pinch all of our barbs here in the Puget Sound, so a little rubber snubber will keep that part on. All right, that gets rigged up onto, we'll take this one apart real quick. Phew, and down we go. So there's your basic rig right there, other than a live bait fish on there. I'm just going to lower it down over the side of the boat. Once you get, it's primarily going to be drift fish over your target zone. Generally what I will do is I'll drop it all the way down to the bottom till I feel the bottom, and then I jam my, stop the drum, and I lift up and reel up a bit. So you're about between 2 and 4 feet off the bottom. You can keep the rod tip high, and then you can actually lower it until you feel the bottom and bounce it off. So the lingcod like to lay down on the bottom. They don't move around a whole lot. They're an ambush predator, so they like stuff that comes right by their face. And so you put that in front of their face, and they're going to snap at it and grab at it. A lot of times you don't actually hook them. They grab a hold of the prey, and they'll hold on to it, and you'll sit there and reel them all the way up to the surface. So consequently, a good tip to remember is that you don't ever want to get them out of the water. You want to kind of keep them under the water a little bit and get a net underneath them, because as soon as they break the surface, they're going to open up their jaws. And like I said, a lot of times they're not hooked. They're just grabbing hold of stuff, and as soon as they open their jaws, your bait pops out and they swim back to the bottom. So just do a prep on that. If you're shore fishing for lingcod, a common bait is going to be synthetic, squid or something along this line here. Double hook setup is fine. Some kind of a pyramid weight system to help you cast out. And then as far as a rod goes for a shore fishing or off of a pier, you can almost use the same rod that you would use for salmon, but you really want a heavy action. So one of these older salmon rods is what I recommend. You can kind of see that. It's we used to use these about 20, 30 years ago to catch kings and stuff. So it's just basically a fast action salmon rod. You can kind of see here on the tip. It's a little bit heavier, and basically you just got to be allowed to. You just have to throw a little bit heavier weight, heavier lure than what you're typically doing with salmon. So we're going to couple it with pretty much a standard rig like that. This little twin-tailed squid rigged on 50-pound line, double hooked, number 7s. So lingcod have big teeth, big mouths. Typically going to cover that with some kind of a scent. I like the Lunker lotion here. It's a gel type, so it kind of hangs on to the cracks and stuff in here, and you can put it inside of the body a bit, and it'll hang around there a little bit. And so That kind of at least makes it smell pretty good. The difference between using live bait and the artificial bait is they're going to snap at this and they're going to realize that this is not real, and they're going to try to spit it out pretty quick. So you have to be ready to set a hook on that. If you're doing the boat method with a live bait, you don't want to set a hook. You don't want to jerk on it at all. You want to keep it steady pressure. So it's almost the opposite of what you would do if you're shore fishing. So some common areas, just going over my little handy notes that I've written up. Shore fishing, or if you're boat fishing, all boats in the Puget Sound require if you're bottom fishing, some kind of a descender device. This is a Puget descender. So if you happen to catch something that you're not allowed, some kind of a rockfish that you're not allowed to keep, you can get it back down to the bottom fairly quickly. If you've ever pulled up a fish or seen a fish that's got the eyeballs blown out, that's it's been brought up from depth, and that's what causes that. And so you use a descender device like this. We're required to have one set up ready to go on the boat whenever we're doing any kind of bottom fishing. So this just you slip this through the mouth and out the gills, and then clip it. So it kind of holds down there, and you just drop it over the side. And when you get it down on the bottom, you just give it a big jerk, and it'll kind of open up, and it'll release the fish, and then you can let it go. Pretty much all done. Drift fishing for lingcod, you're kind of looking for rock piles. They don't tend to hang out too much on sandy open bottoms, but they're going to be around rock piles and stuff, so you like drift fish over the top of them. Fishing off the piers and stuff, there's generally rocks close into shore and debris and stuff like that, and they'll hang out down in there, and so you can get legal lingcod right off the pier or off the shore if you want. Aside from that, that is pretty much the entire secret to catching lingcod. You just go out there and give it a try and have fun, and they're really, really good eating. In the future, I'm going to do a video on how to deep fry them, beer batter deep fry lingcod, because we love having lingcod fish and chips. So that's kind of a family treat, homemade fish and chips. So until the next video, guys, have a great day, have fun, get out there and go fishing. Thank you.